Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binaries of all ages, welcome to the show. If you're here to learn how to do character creation, you're in the wrong place because we're doing cat creation. This is how to make a literal cat in your favorite RPG. I'm Joel Holland, one of your hosts.
And I'm Austin Irwin, the other one of your hosts.
Yeah, that's the two of us. That's the whole show, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for no, I'm kidding.
Back it up.
We haven't even done the cat yet. What was I saying? Oh yeah, right. Anyway, we have a guest we would like to introduce this episode as well. We've had a few of those recently, and honestly, I think if things are shaping up how they look, we're gonna have a lot more coming along the way. But anyway, Austin, who is our guest this time?
Our guest this time is Alex. I didn't learn his last name.
Hello.
Forgot to ask.
It's a mystery.
Oh yeah, that might have been good to clarify that we actually knew the name of the guest.
So,
Alex Works.
Alex Works? Okay.
Awesome. Works is an interesting last name.
Yeah, I think it's Germanic.
Gotcha.
All right. So, Alex, what is your area of expertise here?
Alright, so I do a character creation podcast myself called A Couple of Characters, and on it we have made a lot of characters for some systems, mostly 5e. So if you want to learn about character creation, go there. But if you want to learn about cats, stay here with us. And today we're going to be talking about Blades in the Dark, which is another system. It's a where D&D is kind of like a cinematic setting. Blades in the Dark is more episodic, so it's like you kind of have cutscenes and you jump into the action. So we're going to be doing some Blades in the Dark. It's kind of I don't know if it's dark fantasy. It's like urban fantasy, but it's not our world.
It's kind of like what's Dishonored considered? Like I think I've heard like diesel punk or something like that. Or no, that's not quite it. But basically, if you know the world of Dishonored, if you played a Dishonored game, imagine that, and that's basically the setting of Blades in the Dark. They're very similar thematically, including the like heist and assassination kind of aspect of like how missions work.
Yeah, so I wrote down a little thing about the setting here. It's a kind of a post-apocalyptic world where it was like a D&D magic world, and a wizard broke the gates of death, and now there's like ghosts and stuff, and people have built basically an industrial city on top of the ruins of that world, and now there's a lot less magic and a lot more like industry, but there still is magic, and there's a lot more ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you can't forget the Immortal Emperor.
yes. All right, so I guess if you guys want me to lead us through a cat creation, but first normally you go through the rules, right? What are the rules?
Yeah,
Joel?
we have some rules that we have to get through here.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Let's get down to that. So rule number 1 is we accept no cop-outs. We are making a cat. That's just it. It's the one that sits in your lap that you would keep in your house. It's not like an anthropomorphic cat. Those are banned. Lions and tigers and jaguars and stuff, those are banned. No cop-outs. It's a cat.
Just a cat.
Just a cat.
Our second rule is homebrew isn't real. Doesn't exist. Just remove it from your mind completely. If the rules don't explicitly allow something to happen, it counts as a rule broken for us. And if we come across a rules as written versus rules as intended situation, we go with whichever one says no, because we're a couple of rule breakers.
Yep. And third, if the game includes stats for a literal cat, those must be used or adapted to the game's character sheet. Important note here, because I feel like it will come up at some point. Probably not this episode, but at some point it's gonna be relevant. If a game includes stats for a cat that calls something that's not a literal cat a cat, then those don't count.
Yeah. Rule number 4: the character class / background, playbook, job, whatever, has to exist in the game's core rules, or as part of an official expansion. We can't use homebrew classes yet again. They don't exist.
Exactly. And rule number 5: the cat can learn any skill available to its class, even if it's a thing a cat couldn't normally do. We had a cat that was trained by an organization to seal away superpowers, and we also had a cat that learned enough engineering to make the cat gun because it worked in a R&D lab.
One of my favorites. Speaking of things cats shouldn't be able to use, rule number 6: if a tool would be physically impossible for a literal cat to use, even if comically downsized, they can't use it. No hammers, no axes, javelins.
Basically, nothing that would require opposable thumbs.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. A can opener, a pizza cutter, even.
Probably couldn't work a pizza cutter.
No, they just eat it whole. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
the pizza, not the pizza cutter.
I mean, either way.
Yeah.
Who knows how daring this cat is. And finally, we have to keep track of every rule we break. Even if the number is 0, we need to know that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's what we do. We got Blades in the Dark talked about. And did we say who made Blades in the Dark?
I did not. You want to go ahead and tell them?
Yeah. So credits on this one. Published by Evil Hat Production. Was written, I believe, almost fully by John Harper. He's like the main credit on the game.
Nice.
John Harper, who you may know from we did the Lasers and Feelings thing last episode.
Ah, nice.
Okay. I actually didn't realize that it was the same person that did both those, but
Yeah. He's also done another Powered by the Apocalypse game in the same setting as Blades in the Dark, but 100 years later, where you play as operators on a train whose job is to keep ghosts from attacking the train.
that makes sense. Well, maybe someday you guys can make a cat that operates trains, but not this time.
Nah.
Not in this
We've already had a ship, cat that could fly a ship. I don't know if we're gonna have a cat that can literally operate the train.
How hard it can be. Every time I see it in like movies and TV, it's just people pushing throttles forward. So a cat could do that.
Yeah, you got a point.
Yeah.
You got a point. A cat could
I don't know if they
totally-
could like shovel coal into a engine, but they could push a throttle.
Well, they could put coal in the engine piece by piece, or they could just have a guy for that.
That's true.
Yeah. Stupid humans, that's what they're for. Alright, so the first thing that we need, I guess, are you guys ready to get into the character creation?
Oh, yeah,
the
sure.
cat creation?
Absolutely.
Alright, so the first thing we gotta do is pick a playbook. So there are 7 in the core rulebook that we can choose from. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about each of them, then we can maybe pick one.
Thank you.
So, Cutter is basically, think you're a barbarian, like they're a dangerous fighter, they're just a big brute.
Okay.
A Hound is a deadly sharpshooter and tracker.
I don't think we can do
Not
that
sure
one.
Yeah, probably not. It would be funny to, have a cat that was a hound,
Yeah.
but,
They would be offended.
I don't think they can be a deadly sharpshooter.
Well, again, the cat can do
a
anything
leech-
its class skill says it can. They just
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah.
allowed to use a sniper rifle.
They'd get
Right.
distracted by the laser sight anyways. You all know.
Yep. Then we have a leech, which is like a saboteur and technician. So basically someone that kind of like an artificer / explosives expert. You can flavor it a little bit of different ways, but
Basically, it's like an alchemist or artificer who's exclusively makes bombs.
If you don't,
probably not what our cat's gonna be, but we never know. Then we have a lurk, which is a stealthy infiltrator and burglar, which I think is like a strong contender.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sway you guys.
Yeah, let's hear the rest of the list first.
All right, the slide is a subtle manipulator and a spy. So basically a spy. It's called slide. And then a spider, which is a devious mastermind. And finally a whisperer, or just whisper. That is this is like the wizard, so they can summon ghosts and that kind of thing, and they're the magic user.
Okay.
So an arcane adept and channeler.
I feel like I'm leaning towards either lurk or whisper. And whisper, like if I understand Blades in the Dark lore correctly, is most like magic, quote unquote, that is done in the current age that this game takes place in is like people who have attuned to the ghost field and can use like ghost energy to do the spells and whatnot.
Yeah, so it's not so much spells as it is more like summoning ghosts or going into the ghost door, which like takes you into the ghost realm. There are some magic things you can do as well, like you can enchant objects and stuff.
Ooh.
But yeah, so
I like that a lot.
that's what a whisper does.
Okay.
And I did look through all the playbooks, and there's at least one special ability that a cat could do for everyone.
Nice.
Nice.
So we can pick anything. It's just some, or like I think the lurk has the most that I was like, yes, you could do like 5 of these, whereas everything else was like 4 or less. Some I think was only like one thing.
What I'm stuck on whisper is like you guys have known cats before, right? Like I have never had a pet cat, but I've known some cats.
I've got my cat right here.
Nice. I have known them to just sometimes stare off into random corners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hyper vigilant about whatever ghost is haunting your house.
It's always so weird because you look at the corner, you don't see anything, and your cat is just sitting there, just dead eyeing.
Yeah, transfixed.
And you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed, buddy. And he meows at you one singular time. You're like, I didn't like that.
All right, I like this idea. Also, it wasn't what I expected to go with, which I'm a big fan of. I don't want to do what's expected. Like, anyone can make a lurk cat, but who's going to make a whisper cat?
We never go with what people expect because it's the most fun.
Well, sometimes we do. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes there's things that just straight up would not make sense to do. Like, I don't think we could have tried to do a cat hound, but I don't think it would have been a very fun character to play because of all the class skills that, like, technically they're trained to do it, but they can't use the tools.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, you're really good at shooting things, but sorry, you don't have a gun.
You can't use it.
Exactly.
Okay, so are we good on Whisper?
I think we're good on Whisper. So,
yeah.
If you want to grab the Whisper playbook, Austin.
I have it pulled up right here.
This is
I like the
definitely
very
not
detailed.
the standard. Yeah. I think there's some non-standard stuff on here, but that's okay.
Yeah, so the next thing I have on my list is the heritage. So we got to pick where they're from. Yeah, in Duskwall. So Duskwall is like the main city, and then there are the Shattered Isles, there's 6 islands, I think, that's kind of surround the city where the setting takes place. So Duskwall is like a gigantic city. Think like Gotham, because it's almost always night, because when the wizard broke the gate of death, he made the sun like die, and so now it's only ever dark or like sunrise and sunset. But then it just goes back
Kind of
to
like
dark,
Alaska in the
which is
winter.
why it's called Duskwall.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
I've been listening to some ghosts on a train, so I know a little bit more about Blades in the Dark lore than maybe I would otherwise. But like, I think the idea is like the sun is there. It's just not very bright.
Right.
Like if you look up in the sky at midday, you'll see it, but it's not
It's
blinding.
still dark out.
You can actually stare at the sun in this world. Great.
Yeah. It's just like staring at a
All right,
flashlight on the other side of the room.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you have the list of like places we could be from?
I've got the heritage list from the
Okay.
playbook. If you want me to read that off real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we've got the basic summaries here it has for these. Akaros is the largest and most industrialized land in the Imperium, and it's home to the capital city of Duskwall. They're known as a diverse conglomerate of cultures that have grown together in close proximity for centuries, somewhat like Europe. I think it would be fair to say that like if you're looking at like the Great Britain part of Europe specifically, I think is what fits it best. But this describes it as all of Europe. So do we want our cat to be British?
Absolutely not.
That's a good answer. If you want to be a rootless wanderer, you could be from the Dagger Isles. People there often grow up on ships and travel a lot before settling down. They're known as corsairs and merchants who live without the lightning barriers, dealing with spirits in other ways. If you want to be from a foreign culture, as foreign considered by the locals of Duskwall, you could be from Eruvia, a rich and powerful desert kingdom far to the south. It's another diverse land of varying cultures, similar to old Persia, Egypt, and India. If you want to be from a place considered wild...
I kind of like that.
Do it.
Because I kind of like that because, you know, in like ancient Egypt, cats were worshipped.
I was thinking the same thing.
Maybe our cat's a little entitled.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like a little bit like, yeah, you guys should worship me. I'm a cat. Like every cat.
Yeah,
of course. I'm into that. Do you guys want to stop there, or do you want me to read the rest of the things off, just in case another idea pops out?
Let's go through them, because sometimes we find ones that are just like interesting enough to do.
Yeah, good point. All right, so the next one we've got here is like the Wild West of the Empire, Severos. Outside the few imperial settlements, most Severosi live in nomadic horse tribes scattered across the blasted Deathlands, surviving within the ruins of ancient arcane fortresses which still repel spirits.
A cowboy cat. See?
Yeah.
Cowboy cat with a cowboy hat.
That's also where, like, the last real magical practitioners of the Shattered Isles live.
Oh.
Okay.
Just interesting side lore fact. If you want to be from a marginalized people, you could be from Scotland, the island kingdom just across from the Sea of Duskwall. Scotland was last to be brought under imperial rule over the course of the 36-year Unity War, which ended only a few years ago. Many Scotlander refugees who lost their homes and jobs in the destruction of the war have come to Duskwall seeking new opportunities. And finally, if you want to be weird, you can be from Tycheros. It's a semi-mythical place far away beyond the northern Void Sea. Everyone says that the people there are part demon. If you choose Tycherosi heritage, also create a demonic telltale like black shark eyes, feathers instead of hair, etc., that marks your character.
Ooh.
I think Eruvia and Severos is what stood out to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fun to do the Tycheros, but I feel like we couldn't get away with doing that without having it not be a literal cat.
Yeah.
A little harder.
Yeah.
I like cowboy cat.
Like cowboy cat?
Cowboy cat?
We can do cowboy cat.
All right, let's do cowboy cat.
Alright, next we get to pick our background. So this is what was the cat doing before they started adventuring. So, or I guess heisting, because mostly this game deals in scores that you plan and do with the crew.
This is always
so we have academic, so like a scholar, laborer or laborer, what you know what that is.
Yeah.
Law, trade, military, noble, underworld. So those are the options we have for background. It doesn't really give much more, well, at least in the notes I have, but I think they're self-explanatory.
Yeah.
None of those said cowboy, though, unfortunately.
Well, labor, a coach driver, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
A cat's a coach driver?
I feel like they could take the reins, you know?
Yeah, I guess. If you could get the horses to listen to a cat.
It could, like, I mean, think about it. The cat's claws can act like spurs. Just give them a little
True,
smack.
But they'd be sitting...
Okay, now you're describing riding a horse.
Yeah. No, we need them to be sitting on the coach and guiding the horses from there.
Gotcha. Well,
Again, if we want to say this is what they did, then the playbook demands that they were trained to be able to do it.
That's true. Do you guys have any...
I mean, cats... I've seen cats, like, pick up strings with their claws and, like, kind of whip them a little bit. So I could see that you could train a cat to, like, flick a rein.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how good it would be.
Well, this cat has a lot of training on it, you know?
Okay.
So we want to go
That's
with
what
labor.
they do.
Okay, so now our next part is that we get to assign action dots. So how Blades in the Dark works is that you have like 12, there are 12 skills that you can get.
Right.
And basically the number of dots you have in each little box, there's a nice little table on the character sheet. And the number of dots you have is how many dice you get to roll. And for Blades in the Dark, it's a D6 system. So everything you roll is a D6. And to get a success, you get a 6. Failures 1, 2, or 3. Mixed success is 4 or 5. And then if you roll multiple dice and you get 2 6s or more, that's a crit.
Yep.
And then if you don't have any dots, you roll 2 d6s and take the lower number. So kind of like a disadvantage.
Gotcha.
And we should start with the playbook should give you some dots automatically. So what dots did we get, Austin? Did it fill those in for us?
Yeah, they're already filled in. We've got
All right,
1 in
cool.
study and 2 in attune.
Okay. And we can't do more than 2 dots in one thing for the creation part.
Okay.
right.
So we just got 2 and a 2, and that's what we get. And the other thing to note is, so if you see in this table, I know it's a podcast, it's an audio medium, but this is a very visual part of the character sheet.
We can assume
So
anyone
there's-
who's listening can read a book if they get the book.
Yeah. So then you have like the what is it? Insight, resolve, and something
Prowess.
else. Prowess. Okay. So those each like of those 3 have 4 skills under them.
Yep.
And the number of dice you roll for like an insight check or a prowess check is the number of boxes with at least 1 dot. So if you want to be like really insightful, you would have to spread out in those 4
Gotcha.
areas or those 4 skills.
Okay.
But I think some of these skills that I'm looking at that makes sense for a cat. I guess we could go through the 12 skills quick. I think they're mostly self-explanatory.
Let's see. For insight, the 4 skills we have are hunt, study, survey, and tinker. For prowess, we have finesse, prowl, skirmish, and wreck. And for resolve, we have attune, command, consort, and sway.
Yeah, and these are in Blades in the Dark. It's not like in D&D or some other systems where the DM like tells you what to roll. In Blades in the Dark, you kind of are the one driving, and you say like, I want to make a prowl check, and this is how I'm going to use prowl in this situation. So it's a little more like for example, finesse and tinker. If you're like trying to fiddle with something, you could probably roll either of those. You would just have to make an argument with how you're doing it one way versus the other.
Gotcha.
Yep.
But definitely, I feel like cats can prowl pretty
Absolutely. It says here that we should pick 1 dot for our character's heritage and 1 dot for our character's background.
Right.
I have an
Okay.
idea for the character's background. I
Okay.
think command would be a good if we want to say that they are a coach
yes.
driver.
Yep. Okay.
They would definitely need a point.
Yeah, that
in
makes
command.
sense.
And for their heritage, because we're saying they're from Severos, right?
Yes,
Okay. I would argue maybe finesse.
I could see that.
Because, like, you know, if it's like, if we're wanting to do this as like a literal stereotypical, like, cowboy cat, then,
Which we are.
Yeah,
then the stereotype is that they do things with style.
absolutely. I mean, have you ever seen a cowboy flare his big iron? You know, just spinning
Have you ever seen a cat cowboy spin a gun on their tail? Because this one can.
He can't use the gun,
They can't use the
but
gun.
he can spin it.
Yeah, no.
By
definitely not.
God, he can spin that thing. Okay, we can do finesse for sure.
All right.
And then we get 2 more to put wherever we please.
Yeah.
I think hunt and prowl, like, just because we're a cat.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or I also like, skirmish is more like hand-to-hand fighting, I imagine, whereas prowl is more like what a cat would actually do, like a surprise attack. So I think prowl works better.
gotcha. So hunt and prowl then.
Yeah.
All right. You know what's funny? This cat is not only a cowboy but a wizard. So
I mean,
I can't.
they live in arcane fortresses.
That's true. I cannot wait to see how this shakes out.
They already have 2 attune dots. Like, that's all you need for their wizardry.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so now we get to choose a special ability for our cat. So each playbook comes with several options for special abilities. So we get to pick one of the options listed. And I have written down the ones I think that would work for a cat, but let's just go through all the whisper options quick.
Okay.
I have them here. Would you like me to read them off?
Yeah, go for
yeah,
it.
sure.
Okay. So the first one we have is Compel. You can attune to the ghost field to force a nearby spirit to appear and obey a command you give it. You are not supernaturally terrified by a spirit you summon or compel, though your allies may. Ghost Mind. You're always aware of supernatural entities in your presence. Take plus 1d when you gather info about the supernatural.
I like this one. It fits with what we gave as the reasoning for Whisper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how useful it is if our cat can't talk and they're trying to gather info, but
I mean, they could
fine.
do the thing where they're just staring, and everybody in the party can look at them
exactly.
and be like,
They're gathering info. It could just be a simple visual investigation.
True.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Do you want me to keep going, or do we want to?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Let's see if there's anything else.
Iron Will. You're immune to the terror that some supernatural entities inflict on sight. Take plus 1d to resistance rolls with resolve. Occultist. You know the secret ways to consort with ancient powers, forgotten gods, or demons. Once you've consorted with one, you get plus 1d to command cultists who worship it. I don't know. That one's...
that one maybe would have worked if we were from Tichero and we'd done a little bit of demon blood. You know?
Just a little bit.
I think it would be funny to have a cat just manipulating a spirit cult, but I'm not sure it makes sense as like a thing they can do at the start of the game.
Okay, we got Ritual. You can study an occult ritual or create a new one to summon a supernatural effect or being. You know the arcane methods to perform ritual sorcery. You begin with one ritual already learned. I don't know how ritualistic cats are, though. Next,
They can be trained.
they can be trained. Next one, Strange Methods. When you invent or craft a creation with arcane features, take plus 1d to your roll. You begin with one arcane design already known.
Yeah, so that would be like making magic items.
Our cat don't have hands.
Yep.
Let's see. Tempest. You can push yourself to do one of the following. Unleash a stroke of lightning as a weapon. Summon a storm in your immediate vicinity. Torrential rain, roaring winds, heavy fog, chilling frost, snow, etc. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, they did keep cats on ships as good luck back in the day. Maybe there was something to that.
That's true.
Except this is kind of the opposite. It doesn't say we can calm them. We can
We
just
can
summon
make it.
them.
We can make it worse for all the sailors.
Yeah.
And the last one, Warded. You may expend your special armor to resist a supernatural consequence or to push yourself when you deal with arcane forces.
I'm still leaning towards Ghost.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
Let's do Ghost Mind.
I do like the Iron Will, and like the party fights a big demon and the cat's just like,
Yeah,
whatever.
like, yeah, right.
Just like, I'm not afraid.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
But yeah, let's go Ghost Mind.
Okay, what is our next step?
We've chosen our special ability, right?
Yep, so now we have to choose a close friend and a rival. So basically each playbook gives you a list of like 4 or 5 people that you can choose to be. One is a close friend and one's a rival. And then these can help you when you're like gathering information about the score, and or it can give you ideas for like scores to plan, because maybe if your rival is like an architect and they're trying to build a building in Duskwall, you could try to like go steal their blueprints and ruin their plans or something, you know.
Yeah. For this one, it's listed under Strange Friends on the Whisper sheet.
Gotcha.
And you would note the friend with the up arrow and the rival with the down arrow.
Gotcha. Okay, so our strange friends or enemies are Nerix, a possessor ghost, Skurlock, a vampire, Satara, a demon, Quellen, a witch, or Flint, a spirit trafficker.
I feel like Quellen the Witch would be a good ally for a cat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was actually thinking we should make them the foe, just because it's like the most expected again.
Yeah,
It's
like,
true.
oh, this witch hates this.
This
cat.
witch doesn't like cats. I'm good with that. I think it's one of those.
It would be interesting.
Let's go ahead and flip that on its head.
Okay.
Now who's
who's
the friend? Yeah.
Vampire.
I was about to say.
Yeah, I like vampire.
Just imagine this vampire sees this cat and is like, "My God, you look like a cat I had 3 centuries ago. God, you're coming home with me at some point."
Oh man, I just thought about how great it would be to be a vampire in Duskwall. Like, there's barely ever any sunlight. Just like, oh yeah, I can just walk around.
I'm
That's fine.
good, man.
I think that's like a thing in Blades in the Dark. Is like they specify like you can become a vampire or like any undead thing.
Yep.
And the downsides of it are basically none because there's no sun anymore. You just have to change your diet.
My friend that I played with, he was a cutter, and he really wanted to become a hull, which is basically like a zombie robot or something. And he was like, first I had to die, become a ghost, and then because I was playing a leech, and he's like, you can make me into a hull, right? I was like, I guess, yeah.
You have to die, come back as a spirit, be trapped in a lightning bottle, and then installed into the hole.
I mean, he knew it was going to be a process, and we didn't quite. That campaign ended before we could get there, unfortunately. But okay, so next we get to choose a vice for this cat. So every character in Blades in the Dark has a vice because there's a mechanic that is stress, and to relieve stress in your downtime, you have to like do your vice.
Gosh.
So there are some options here.
Let's see, the options as that I see are faith, gambling, luxury, obligation, pleasure, stupor, or weird.
Yeah.
I feel like luxury would be a fitting one.
True.
I also kind of like stupor with like catnip. Like not like the spark drug that's in Blades in the Dark, but just catnip.
Yeah. I was thinking pleasure in the terms of like this cat just really wants
like
to be pet. Yeah.
It. Yeah.
Just runs up to people and yells at them.
These are good.
Man, all of these would work.
Also, we haven't broken a single rule yet, because there's no rule that says you have to be a human. It's just kind of implied heavily that you're a human.
Usually the heavily implied thing, we have to go with that because it's rules as intended.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Alright, so maybe we've broken one.
Yeah.
Usually that's our first rule broken. It's not playing as something in the character book.
Sometimes it's the only thing.
Yeah.
But...
yeah. Oh man.
I really like Austin's idea of pleasure of just like getting all the pets and the head scritchies.
Yeah.
That's
just
very good.
Seeking attention everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to go with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
I don't think that's what the book meant by pleasure, but I'm glad that that's where we went with it. Because it's very funny. Also, I have 2 cats, and one of them is like, he would, if he's not sleeping, he wants you to pet him.
See,
So
that's why
like
I thought of it, because
picturing.
my cat is the exact same way. If he's not asleep, he is in your face trying to get you to pet him.
Yep.
I think for background, I see you wrote labor, but you've also got labor check below. Didn't we say it was like a carriage driver?
Yes, I guess. How do you spell carriage?
CARRIAGE.
Okay.
Age.
You know, heritage. I didn't know what else to put up top.
Yeah, I don't think there is anything else to say for heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're coming to the end. Looks like we have to pick our flavor. So this is like our look, our alias, and our name. Because you know what? all these games, you just name them at the end.
Yeah. Oh
For
boy,
some
we also
reason.
got to decide what type of cat this is.
My favorite part.
Oh yeah.
Looking up pictures of cats. Types of government. Oh, thank you, Google.
I think it would be funny just because of like how the setting works. If we have a like perfectly Snow White cat, but everyone thinks it's a black cat because of the environment it lives
Just
in.
at nighttime all the time.
That's really good.
Okay. I have no clue what type of cat is what color, by the way.
I think most cats can just kind of be color.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of
Like,
which one of these cats looks most like an old Western gunslinger.
I was gonna say we also get to pick a name and an alias. So most characters in Blades in the Dark have like a like Thorn or Rose or Hammer, stuff like that. That are like just aliases. Not sure what that would be. I had an idea for an alias when I thought we might be a lurk, but now we've gone off the rails. So my idea was Shadowpaw, but now I'm like, that's not quite as good for a whisper.
I don't know. That sounds
Or a cowboy.
It's still a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about look up a ragdoll cat? See what you think of that.
My wife loves ragdoll cats, so if I tell her we made a ragdoll, she'll be pretty pumped.
Oh, it's perfect.
This cat looks very good. I like this.
Just give him a little cowboy hat and
He'll be perfect.
Comically downsized for him,
obviously.
of course, or her. I guess we haven't actually decided a gender. The cowboy implies man, but there can be cowgirls.
Cowgirls exist too.
yeah,
Okay, so we've got a white ragdoll cat
that everyone thinks.
Yeah,
is
I
that everyone thinks.
Yeah, I like the name Shadowpaw actually because like shadow implies black,
Yeah.
but they're a white cat.
So the alias.
So that could be their alias or their actual name because cats can have, weird names like Ham.
We can't name another cat Ham.
Ham was straight off the dome. I was like, what's a
Ham was good.
I think food is a pretty common cat.
Oh,
name,
absolutely.
I also think it's funny when cats have just human names. Just that's Jerry.
This is Reginald.
That's my cat Jerry. Yeah.
You want to just look up a Severos name generator? That probably exists.
Yeah, sure.
I don't see one for Severos specifically. But if it's supposed to be Wild West, then we could just Wild West name generator.
They do. Fantasy name generators has a cowboy and cowgirl name generator section.
Oh boy.
There we go.
Let's see. We got Lee Lonesome Cash, Daniel Moral.
Oh, they all come with nicknames.
They all come with nicknames. Abraham Backfire Fox, Glenn Ryder Nolan, Marshall Demonize McMahon.
If we were Titcheros.
Yeah, I was about to say we had gone with Titcheros. Irvin the Loner Hawkins, Donald Oddstick Jarvis, Jess Croker Osborne, Simon Bogtrotter Atkinson, and
I like Jess for a cat.
Jess
name.
is a good one.
How about have we decided on a gender yet?
No, we have not.
No.
Okay. I like Jess if it's a girl, but Simon if it's a boy, I think.
Yeah. Let's go with Jess. It's been a minute since we've had a girl cat,
Yeah,
I think.
let's do Jess.
Okay. And then Austin pick us the last name too. So Jess Shadowpaw.
I really like
Osborne.
Mick Mahone. I really like the last name Mick Mahone.
Okay. Let's do it.
Sounds good. Yeah, so that's all we have for Jess, but I guess we should probably write some sort of little backstory of why did she decide to leave the carriage driving, caravan driving life and become I guess there's one more thing that usually when you have more than one player, you have a crew, and you have to choose a type of crew. So maybe we should choose what type of crew.
this cat can be put into a crew, but I don't want to decide that for the players because that's kind of a group decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking it might help us decide why she left the ranch, or whatever. But I think we could do that anyway.
Yeah, I think...
Because she still went to Duskwall.
Yeah. Cats have a natural affinity for crime.
Mm-hmm.
And this cat was making an honest living, but it had certain skills, and it learned that crime pays better.
Yeah, and maybe it learned that, like, oh, not everyone can see ghosts. I thought everyone could see ghosts. I've been, seeing ghosts for years.
Yep.
I thought this was just life. What do you mean you guys can't see?
And then I guess, this one doesn't really even have, like, sometimes it's like age, size, that kind of stuff. But this one's like, you're fine. Yeah. You're a cat. You're Jess Shadowpaw McMullen?
McMahon.
I think, yeah.
Okay, McMahon. Yeah, there's not much more to the Blaze in the Dark character creation. So, any other questions or anything else you guys want to ask me about Blaze in the Dark that I can try to fumble and answer?
Not right. Not that I can think of.
Oh, I guess I'll mention one other thing for the listeners too, is that for equipment, you don't actually pick equipment in like character creation, because when you go on a score, you just like choose how much stuff you brought, so you get to pick a load size. So it's like basically a light load, medium load, or heavy. And the difference is like a light load is like it's subtle. I mean, you're a cat, so none of these are subtle, but a light load is like subtle, medium load is like a little bit harder to hide, and heavy load is like you look strapped, like people can tell you're about to go fight. So, and then like when you get to the actual score, you just say like, oh, I brought 3 items, and then you're like, oh, I need to pick a lock. I pull out my lock picks and just mark off that you use one of your 3 things. Because like I said, it's like more episodic. It's more like jump to the action, figure it out later. It also has like a flashback mechanic, which is kind of cool. So you can like do a flashback to help someone else and be like, oh, we planned this, like, and then you do a flashback scene.
It's all
so
very
it's a fun game.
Like very heist movie, like especially like leaning heavy into like Ocean's 11 type of stuff, where like, oh, how are we gonna get past this? They didn't talk about this thing, but in reality, they'd planned for that all along, and here's how.
Yep, exactly.
I do not think I have any questions. None that I can think of. Again, I haven't really spent much time with this system.
Oh, that's fine.
Heard things from others.
It's pretty fun. There's also like a mechanic for heat on your crew. So like the more Tysons or scores you do, the more heat your crew gets, and eventually the cops will start taking people away to jail, and you try to pin people to like take some heat off and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
kind of like GTA Stars.
Yeah, GTA Stars. Except I don't think it's just the police. Like it could be like you've pissed off this guild, or
yeah.
See, I just do that to my players in D&D anyways. I'm like, you guys get into a lot of trouble. You're gonna find out.
Yeah, when you do your crew too, like the character, the crew picks a friend and a foe. So there's other crews in Duskwall, and like one of them is friendly to you, one of them's not. And then there's like 8 or 10 others that are just around doing heists, and you have to like try to get, territory and that kind of stuff. So it's fun. It's a fun game.
Most of the other crews and stuff are like established, like big names in Duskwall. Like they're not people that you can piss off without losing your head.
Right. Unless you can somehow recruit another one of them to like back you up.
Yeah. And then you're like
I think the
part of a proxy war that is just always going on between guilds.
Yep.
No outright bloodshed, but we got these guys. We don't control them. They do whatever they want, but if you come after them, we will go to war with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, the idea at the beginning of the game is like your crew is new, and so you're just trying to break into the scene, and these crews are established because they've been here a while. So
yeah,
gotcha.
Like
this
honestly, for me, like Like the crew is honestly where like things start falling apart for me, and like how much I enjoy the game, because the crew determines your territory growth path, and that is
Mm-hmm.
like a necessary thing to like, expanding, progressing in the game. And
Yeah.
you like, unless you homebrew, which we won't don't do here at least, you can't help but like do some of the terrible things that you are maybe hoping to escape by, doing these heists, getting building up a stash, and eventually maybe being able to retire in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Or, die, become a ghost, get your soul put into a lightning bottle, and then become a hall.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, or that.
The
Whatever your
usual.
goals are.
It sounds like a really fun system, and
You don't have to worry about dying in poverty if you never die.
But is there anything else we need to do, go over, or establish for our character? Good old Jess
For,
McMahon.
is there any other fun little bit you want to add to their backstory?
Mhm. Maybe they're missing like one of her left ear is like missing, kind of the top bit because a horse bit it off at
That'd
some
be
point.
good.
Oh,
You gotta have a couple scars
Oh.
if you're a good cowboy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So her left ear is missing.
Yeah, and you also get to describe like there's a lot of outfit options in the like player kit here. So I don't know if maybe Jess has fingerless gloves or something like that. That's just ridiculous for a cat to be wearing, but they can be, so why not?
Listen, if I could get my cat to wear fingerless gloves, I'd do it. In a heartbeat.
I think cat with a cowboy hat is.
Oh yeah, the cowboy hat is implied, I think.
Absolutely. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of here just in case somebody downloads it and is like, do they?
Yeah.
Absolutely. She wears nothing but a cowboy hat. Maybe she's ashamed of her ear getting bitten off and
Maybe.
she wears a cowboy hat and it's like, alright,
Or
I don't
maybe
want
the cowboy
that.
hat.
Yeah, I don't
Or
want that
maybe
to
the
happen
cowboy
again.
hat has like little holes cut out for the ears.
Nice. I'm adding
It's
that.
up to the players. Definitely, there's a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget, like, she worked hard, but learned that crime paid better.
Yeah. So here's what I have written down. Carriage driver that find out that crime pays more than hard work. She can see ghosts and was dumbfounded to find out that's not the norm. Her left ear is missing a chunk due to being bitten off by a horse, and she wears nothing but a cowboy hat with holes for her ears.
Excellent.
Or what's left.
Left of her
Yeah,
ears because it
yep,
was the left
yep.
ear that was damaged.
So you got it.
Oh man, went over my head.
I didn't even know if he did it on purpose. I just wanted to call it out.
I absolutely did it on purpose. Come on, Joel, you know me.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
All right.
I guess I should go ahead and shout this out because like we're using it. We downloaded the character sheets that we're using from a website called AD1066. That's the letters AD and then 1066 the numbers .com. Someone that there's not like an official like Blades in the Dark form fillable PDF character sheet. Or there is, because there are for a lot of Evil Hat games, but they don't separate them, so you just get one big PDF that has all your character sheets in it on one file, so you can't just like fill out the one you need and save it and send it to someone. So this guy has taken the playbooks and split them up into individual character sheets, and that's what we used.
True. We do love a good form fillable PDF here.
Yeah. Most of the ones that we put up on the Dropbox folder, that's what they're in.
Nice.
So is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss, like about the cat or anything else?
I don't think so.
I think we got the cat wrapped up with a nice little bow.
Okay.
Yeah, but she doesn't wear a bow because she only wears.
She's
a
more
cowboy
dignified.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the cat wrapped up with a nice little cowboy hat.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's how the saying goes.
Yep, that's definitely how the saying goes. All right, so I guess if that's the case, then everyone, it's time for you to drop your mixtapes.
Boy.
Yep. If you got something to plug, now is the chance.
Alex, you are the guest. Please.
Okay, I'll go first. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has been.
And so like I said at the top, because I already shamelessly plugged, a couple of characters podcast. I make characters with my wife every 2 weeks on. We release on Thursdays. Yeah, Thursdays. And yeah, we have done D&D 5e a lot. We did Blades in the Dark once. We just did a game called Magical Kitties Save the Day, in which you make a cat. So, if you like cat content, you can go check that one out. And then I'm on Twitter at AlexNWinterland, but I just mainly retweet my podcast things and other D&D things. But
understandable.
That's it for me. Yeah.
I mean, what else is there to do on Twitter anymore?
True.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my feed is just all D&D things. I didn't know there was other stuff on Twitter.
Things go on Twitter?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how Twitter goes. Like I said, we said this last episode, I think, but
That's a good point.
At the time we recorded that episode, Twitter had just changed management. At the time we're recording this one, things have actively gotten worse over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't Elon Musk just tell people that he was gonna basically sell verified check marks?
Yep.
If you pay a certain amount every month, you get to be verified.
Yep. And here's the funny thing. Now this information will be a month old to anyone by the time this comes out, but who cares? The $8 a month checkmark thing. People immediately started using that to impersonate Elon Musk.
Absolutely. Because what better way is there to use it?
Not even they didn't wait for it to roll out even. Some people are just I've only got the check mark left for a few more days or a week at most. I'm just gonna I'm gonna go for it. And instead of suspending them or asking them to take the tweets down or whatever, or revoking their verified status, their accounts got permanently suspended.
Yep.
Oof.
But remember, comedy is legal on Twitter now, so
just not making fun of the owner.
Yeah, no.
Well, if you are now off Twitter because it's gone down in a burning car wreck, you can find our podcast at a couple of characters podcast.com and wherever else you find podcasts. And I guess we're on Instagram too. I just never use it. My wife is in charge of that one. But anyway, I'll throw it over to Austin to plug his mixtape.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I use no social media but Twitter to post my dumb little thoughts. My life's a dumpster fire anyways, so you can catch me over in another dumpster fire. Besides that, I probably will be posting my deranged thoughts on TikTok more, so you'll get to hear me speak on them rather than type them.
And what's that at?
Both at Avalon Alchemist, and finally, at the time of listening to this, I have not been streaming for a hot minute. I think it's been a month since my last stream, but I have everything set up, ready to go, and I will be getting back into more regular streams here very soon.
Nice.
Awesome. What are you going to stream? Video games or Blades in the Dark content?
I will be doing video games mostly. I still got to play Slime Rancher 2. Hype for it. Thinking about getting Miles Morales Spider-Man and playing through that. And I also want to do some art streams because I recently got my art pad working again on my computer. So
nice.
I will just be drawing probably random stuff. I want to make some phone backgrounds, because I can never find any good ones online, so fuck it, why not make them myself? And, other, personal art or commissions and stuff.
I was just going to say, I just heard about this video game that's apparently been popular, so by the time this comes out, it won't be, but it's called Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah.
Where you just literally are, power washing things,
man.
and I think it gets a little weird. But
I think Power Wash is timeless. Like,
Mm-hmm.
someone new is gonna hear about Power Wash Simulator for the first time, like every day, and they're gonna go look it up and think, "Huh, I want to play this."
It's just so satisfying.
Yep,
But that's all from me. I'll throw it over to Joel.
that's me. So, I'm still on Twitter, at least at the time of recording this. Who knows what the next month will bring, right? But assuming that Twitter is still a thing that people are on by the first or second week of December, whichever one of those this comes out on, you can find me at my name spelled backwards. That's Denala Lioge. That is probably difficult to spell, so you can find that link and my other links to projects, other social medias, etc., projects completed and incomplete, etc., at jholland.start.page, and that's how you can find me. As for the show, you can find that one if you go to literalcatpod.start.page. And let's just go through a quick list of things that you can find if you go to that link. First off, you can find our email. And that email is where you can send us cat pictures. As of right now, no one's done that yet, and it makes me very sad.
I'll tell my wife to send one after this.
Oh, thanks. So yeah, you can find a link to our email, so you can send us cat pictures. You can also send us requests for specific games you'd like to see us play, or for specific cats you'd like to see us make, or, you know, a game and a cat to go with it if you want to get real wild. I would also offer guest spots and whatnot, but at this point I've got backed up on guests potentially to January, so I'm not 100% sure when we'll be ready to take on more guests. Just we've got a lot coming up, which is exciting, and I guess I'm not 100% sure they're all happening, but if they all happen, we're backed up to January on guests. So
feeling kind of popular over here.
Yeah, a little bit. So anyway, you can find that. You can also find the Twitter where we post most of our announcements, and that's probably not going to stop. And then we've got a Tumblr, which I need to start posting on more as the podcast. The Literal Cat Pod Tumblr exists. I don't always remember to post updates on it. It's just, it doesn't fit with like the Tumblr post format type to just like post announcements, so I forget all the time. But there is the Ask Us Anything feature, so you can go there, ask a question anonymously or with your name attached, and we will probably answer it. We've got a YouTube channel where all of our episodes go. If you watch the YouTube channel at 5:30 the day a new episode drops, then you can join a sort of watch party because we premiere the episodes on YouTube then. That's 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's New York time. Yeah. Finally, don't forget to rate and review if your podcast app allows you to do that. If it doesn't, you can always hop over to podchaser.com and leave a review there. We would really appreciate it. And finally, there is a Dropbox which has all of the character sheets from the show, and you can find that by going to bit.ly/literalcatpod. And I think that's all from me.
Awesome. Also, please be sure to use that Dropbox. I cannot wait for somebody to use one of these cats in a game. I want to know so bad. At me on Twitter.
Yeah, if you use one of these character sheets in a real game, you legally have to tell us.
Yes. There's a fine print contract underneath every character sheet.
Yep. Super duper fine print.
Invisible ink. I was gonna say we didn't say how many rules we broke. I think it was just the one.
Yeah. I only counted the one.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So pretty good accommodating game for a cat.
Yeah.
Most of the time they surprisingly are. I'll be honest, when we first started this, I thought we were gonna have to break like 10 rules an episode, but surprisingly no. I think the most we've ever broken was like 7.
Well, we haven't done Shadowrun yet.
That's true. We'll get there.
Speaking of guests, I refuse to do Shadowrun without help from a guest.
Okay.
So that's all from us, I believe. Austin, do you got a cat pun for us?
I sure do, Joel. Everyone, when you go out tomorrow, the next day, whenever you're listening, be sure to tell all your friends and family, Meowdy.